Hey guys, Pete back here, or Tweenwave. By the way, in case anyone doesn't know, Tweenwave is awesome. That comes from that South Park episode that aired like 2-3 months ago about Tweenwave taking over and just becoming a, cynical asshole and just hating everything. Anyway, Tweenwave doesn't really exist, but it kind of sounds a little bit like dubstep with fart noises if it did. Anyway, today I'm actually going to do something a little different. I'm going to focus on an artist collection because I have almost enough to, represent a nice chunk of his catalog. And this is partially, kind of, sort of inspired by Sequoia Flame and Derek showing some Chick Corea records. I'm going to show my Herbie Hancock records, and I'm going to focus on the 70s because that's my favorite decade for his music. It's also the one that I have the most of. I'm missing a bunch of his 60s stuff. I have some of them on CD, some of the Blue Note stuff, and then there's some other ones that I don't have. There's Empyrean Isles, there's Maiden Voyage, there's Speak Like a Child. All of those are really good, and you should own all of them. Inventions and Dimensions is a cool one. That one is actually like a trio plus a percussionist. That one's really cool too. The 70s is really, really cool. And I am missing a couple things, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. There's some Japanese-only records that I don't have and I'd really, really like, but for now, this is pretty sizable. This is pretty good. We'll start with, well, no more introduction. Let's just start with the records. This is the first one from the 70s. Came out in 1970, and it's called Fat Albert Rotunda. You can see this cover is a little beat. It's it's seen some better days. At least the jacket has. The record's actually really clean. It's not an original because it's the it's got like palm trees on the label, but record's in good shape. And this was sort of, I guess you could just call this like a taste of things to come. It's actually really jazzy and funky, like equally funky. And Tell Me a Bedtime Story is a really great song. Jessica is actually the song that Mobb Deep later sampled. Someone just made that discovery not too long ago, so that's really cool. And a really good band. This is a lot of fun. This is a really fun record. Joe Henderson's on here, Johnny Cole's on here, Buster Williams on bass, Tootie Heath on drums. I don't know much about Tootie Heath, but Joe Henderson is always sounds good. Whether he's doing like more conventional stuff or when he gets out there, he just always sounds good. So that's a really good record. This next one was the start of, still on Warner Brothers, but he started a whole new band, and this was the first album that he did with this band. And he titled the band after the album, or he titled the album after the band, whichever, called Mwandishi. I guess that's how you pronounce it. Really cool record here. This one turned up. This was a really nice score. It's still in the shrink wrap, if you can see. And this one is an original Warner Brothers record. And if you can see the back here, he assigned, the African names to everyone. So there's Pepo, Mtoto, Chizaji, Maganga, Mwili, Jabali, Mwandishi. Basically, I didn't even know. Oh, I just discovered something. One of these songs was actually written by Julian Priester, who was in the band at the time. The other two were written by Herbie Hancock. He's starting to get out there more. He's starting to get more spacey. The band is, Buster Williams on bass, Billy Hart, Eddie Henderson, cool trumpet player, Benny Maupin on bass clarinet, alto flute, and Julian Priester is on trombone. So this was the first one of the Mwandishi band. Here's the second one, the Mwandishi band. This is called Crossings. This is really cool stuff here, too. I'm gonna even take this out of the bag so you can see what's going on inside here. More really cool out there stuff. Again, Herbie was really just sort of, there's like electronic sounds and all kinds of weird things happening in and out. There's Moog synthesizer. What else is on here? Lots of synthesizers, basically. And this was the last album of the Mwandishi band. It's also my favorite, Sextant. This one is one of my all-time favorites. I love this record. Again, same band, just more craziness, just so far ahead of its time. He was just so ahead of the curve here. Just almost like drum and bass, like, you know, 20, 30 years before there was such a thing. I don't really know how else to describe this music. It's just really out there jazz. That's still, like, he still has tunes, but it's really, really spacey stuff. And this was, that was 1973. And then later on in 73, he started the new band, he started Headhunters, and this is the one that everyone should own. It was one of his most popular, successful, really funky, got away from the more craziness, and he also got rid of most of the band. It's just Herbie, and Benny Maupin is still here. Everyone else is new. There's Paul Jackson on bass. Let's see. Paul Jackson's on bass, Harvey Mason's on drums, Bill Summers on congas and stuff like that. And who am I leaving out? Herbie, Benny Maupin, Paul Jackson, Harvey Mason. I guess that's it. Oh, Mike Clark. Mike Clark didn't join until the next album, but yeah, this is this is classic. You know, you've heard Chameleon 100 times. You've probably heard Watermelon Man 100 times. So you kind of get, you know, I got kind of sick of this and, like, put it away for a while. And then, like, I dug it out not too long ago. Awesome. So, get that one too. Here's a soundtrack he did. Here's Death Wish, a film starring Charles Bronson, and I've actually never seen this, and I don't know if I want to. But the music's pretty good. It's actually what we're playing right now. And it doesn't list the members on here, so I'm not sure who's playing on it. But he did one or two other soundtracks in the 70s too that I don't have. Also from 1974, Thrust, the follow-up to Headhunters. Really, really good. Now we have Mike Clark is on drums. I think I like Mike Clark even more than the other guy, Harvey Mason. Although, yeah, I don't know why they made the switch there. If someone probably could, you know, school me in, you know, the members changing, because pretty soon this band started to dissolve. But while they were together, they were on point. The song Butterfly is one of the all-time greats. Wow, this is a really cool cover, actually. I like that cover. And Palm Grease is good. Actual Proof. Probably, well, almost as good, probably as good as Headhunters. Maybe slightly less, but still really good. Here's Manchild. Still mostly the same band, I think. Mike Clark. Oh, here's Harvey Mason on here, at least a little bit. Paul Jackson still here. Wayne Shorter makes an appearance. I think Stevie Wonder makes an appearance on harmonica at one point. And, you know, still jazzy and funky. Not quite as good, but still really solid. I really like Hang Up Your Hang-Ups. That's the song to listen to. And moving on, the one after that was Secrets. There's a little bit of... This cover's a little worn, but the record's clean at least. And then this was starting to get, you know, a little more cheesy than before. There's like a reggae version of Cantaloupe Island, which isn't very good, and there's one song that has female backing vocals, and that's not very good. And everyone else is just Benny Maupin's still here, and Paul Jackson's still here, and now there's guitar from Ray Parker and Wah Wah Watson, and still good, but just starting to, as the deeper into the 70s you go, the cheesier his funk starts to get. And then, as a sort of almost a reaction to that, he also started his acoustic stuff, sort of a return to his like 60s quintet with Miles. This basically is the quintet, except Freddie Hubbard has replaced Miles. But other than that, it's the same guys as it was in the 60s. Ron Carter, Wayne Shorter, and Tony Williams. And this was just your more straight ahead acoustic jazz. And let's see, you get the guys in the gatefold here. That's kind of cool. And I think some of these tunes are new. Some of them had already appeared on the other guys' albums. Everyone contributes writing. Dolores is a good song. Third Plane is a Ron Carter tune. One of a Kind. Here's Jessica is the song from the Fat Albert Rotunda record, and that one's pretty good. Now there was a live album called Flood that was coming out like, well, I forgot to mention it because I don't have it, but it came out after Thrust, or it came out around the time of Manchild, around the time this one. Really good live album that I don't have. There's a couple other live albums from Japan only. There's The Piano, and I think that's just a solo piano record that I don't have. There's also Dedication is one I don't have. There's also one called Sunlight from 1978, which I don't have, and I'd be interested in getting if I see it cheap. But again, the deeper in the 70s you go, it just starts to get worse and worse. And by this time, 1979, you have, what is this? Feats Don't Fail Me Now. This one's not that good. The cover's kind of cool if you like, feet and weird things in the ground. Actually, the cover's pretty cool, unfortunately, and then this image is kind of cool too. But you've just got just cheese central. I mean, there's lyrics. He's writing lyrics to his songs and singing with the vocoder, and it just didn't come out good. And I don't even know what the band is. And I don't even care. Wah Wah Watson still again. Benny Maupin makes a guest spot on one of the tracks, but it's not that good. So that's it for the 70s. I'll show this one because it's the only thing I have from the 80s by him. This is Future Shock. This is the one with Rocket. That's the song that everyone knows and loves, or you don't love. Maybe you do, maybe you don't. It's pretty good. It's got, turntable scratches, so he's still sort of ahead of the curve in that respect. But the music is just kind of, this one isn't even a jazz record, this is just sort of like electro, funk, almost, dance funk, I guess you could call it. Not bad, but just not as cool as those early 70s records. That's the stuff I really like. So that's basically it. I was gonna do sort of an addendum and show like some other records that he played on in the early 70s, because there's a lot of good stuff, like those Freddie Hubbard records from the early 70s, like Red Clay and Straight Life. He's played on Jaco Pastorius records, played on Milt Jackson. He even played on a Stevie Wonder record, and I realized that would have taken, like 3 or 4 videos to cover, and that would have been a very incomplete list because he was just, played with everything. So I figured I'll just cover, his own records, and that's pretty much it. Comment if you have anything to say, and I'll do something else like this, maybe with another artist that I have a lot of records by. But again, I was going through my collection. A lot of things are just incomplete, so I figured, well, I'll cover something that it's at least 70 or 80% all there. So there it is. Hope it turned out well, and look forward to doing more of this stuff in the future. All right, take care.